Steven Soderbergh, Zoe Kravitz, a thriller drama. Hey, count me in. That's what Kimi was supposed to be, but wow. Let's talk about it, guys, because I got some things to say about this one. What's going on, y'all? If you're new to the channel, my name is Leo Rydell. This is Geekly Goods, guys, and if you're new, go ahead and hook your boy up with that HBO special. Y'all know what that is? That's the Help a Brother Out special, y'all. Hit that subscribe button, ding that bell, and hit like on this video for videos on the latest in movies, TV, with a little sprinkle of anime in there as well. Y'all, I'm here today to talk about Kimi, starring Zoe Kravitz, and I love my girl Zoe, and let me give it to her. She really saved this movie from being a complete upset. So let's talk about this one, starting out with what Kimi is about, who directed it, and who stars in it. Now, during the COVID-19 pandemic in Seattle, an agoraphobic tech worker discovers evidence of a violent crime while reviewing a data stream and is met with resistance and bureaucracy when she tries reporting it to her company. The movie is directed by Steven Soderbergh and stars Zoe Kravitz, Rita Wilson, among others. And guys, I gotta say, it has a really interesting premise. I like that it takes place during COVID-19. I think that gives it a modern look and feel. But there are just some glaring problems to this. But before we get into what doesn't quite work for me, I want to start with what really works, and that's Zoe Kravitz. I think that she keeps you along for the ride the entire time. Her expressions, the way she is on camera, you could just feel her gravity. She's really just nailing it in these roles now, and I'm loving seeing more of her. And like I said, she actually saved it from feeling pretty low bar. She actually kind of kept the bar raised a little high throughout the film, because just the way she portrays somebody with this phobia really does transcend through screen. You could just tell through the different sequences when she's outside of her house, she does feel like she's closed in and trapped and can't escape. And the cinematography does speak to this too, which I'll get to in a minute. But Zoe just really holds her own, and I just can't wait to see her as Catwoman, because I think that this is a nice, interesting premise to it's almost like showing us how she's going to do in the Selena Kyle role, and I'm here for it. I think she does well in this movie. I think the movie needed a little bit more, but let's get into the cinematography, because I like some of the style of the cinematography, but it gets a little overwhelming. The cinematography has a lot of Dutch tilts, a lot of shaky cam, a lot of just steady cam movements along with Zoe, and I really like these movements of the camera with her to make it feel dynamic, make it feel like she's trapped, really personify the agoraphobia, and I like that. I think it's overused a tad too much though, and I think that sometimes it would help if we could just stay steady a little bit, but unfortunately it's trying to create this style, and I like where it's going, but it's just overused a tiny bit. Those are the things that I really liked about this movie, but let's get into some things that don't quite work about Kimi, starting with overuse of the stylized cinematography. I think that it does work in sequences where she's walking through hallways, she's in new environments from where we saw earlier in the film. I think it really works there, but man, it starts to feel like a little too much, a little Battlefield earthy, y'all. Not that it's just like throws me completely out of the movie. I know it's trying to really create a sense of style and give this agoraphobia a bit of a personification, but it just takes it a little too far by using it so much whenever she's outside of her environment, that it just becomes a little daunting to keep going back to. Also, I think that this movie needs more, and it's weird to say that because I could see it working as this like thriller drama of only an hour and a half, but it's weird that online it was reported as 2 hours 29, and then when I finally got the screener and got to check it out a little early, it was an hour and a half, and it felt like maybe there had been a significant amount chopped out, because characters don't get fleshed out. There are backstories and things that aren't explored that I would love to have known more details about, especially the stream that she stumbles upon. I would have loved to know a little bit more on that backstory. I think we just don't dive deep enough onto some of the nuances that would have helped bring this story to life a little bit, because it feels a little cliche. It feels like very predictable, like we've seen something like this before, and it doesn't really speak to a bigger message. Well, let me take that back. It seems like it's trying to speak to a bigger message of big companies and corporations sweeping things under the rug that shouldn't necessarily, but I think that would have been so much more powerful had we referenced that incident more, referenced the stream that she stumbled upon more, but it just kind of like introduces it and then ditches it so quick that that nuance just kind of comes and goes because of that small runtime. I think unfortunately this suffers from not being at least closer to a couple hours, because it's only an hour 27. So if it was like closer to a couple of hours, maybe then we get a little bit more context, a little more backstory from Zoe Kravitz's character Angela, because she can relate to this. She knows she's been through this before, and we referenced that a couple of times in the movie, but we don't really sit on it and we don't really get time to explore her character that much. And I think that the COVID-19 backdrop, I kind of wonder what that had to do with it all. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think it really had a significance in this. So there's just some things in this movie that I really didn't like. Like I said, I really did like the stylized cinematography up to a point. It started to get to be too much, and then it's just pretty cliche, unfortunately. There's not enough. It feels so small. It does feel like a lot was cut out. As I said, it was reported to be 229 and came out to be 129. So I wonder if the final cut chopped out an hour, or it was just they were maybe deciding between a couple cuts and they went with the cut that was shorter. Not entirely sure, but there's just not enough oomph in this movie. It's not bad though. I thought it was a pretty decent 129. It wasn't like crash and burn bad or anything like that. It was just missing a lot. And also, what was very odd is there was a lack of score. Like, I think the score was just not really dynamic enough for something that's this thriller, edge of your seat style vibe. I mean, there are chase scenes and things like that, but there's no like really high impact score, which is weird when you're going through these chase sequences and you're just hearing like actual ambient noise as opposed to like a very exciting score. I just thought that was a bit of an odd choice. The score is very smooth and classical, and I wanted something like thrillery, edge of your seat, kind of adrenaline rushing, and it didn't give you that. So that was a little odd, but all in all, it's not a terrible movie. I don't think I would go back and watch it, and I just think it needs some more. But guys, if I had to give it a rating to Kimi, I would go with a 6 out of 10. Unfortunately, it hits some good beats. Zoe's great in it. I think that the cinematography style and choice is really fun. Some of the themes and motives I think work, but others don't. They need more context, and unfortunately, it just doesn't feel like this movie has enough about it to really stand out from the crowd, and it does have a lot of elements that just feel very cliche, very predictable, but at the end of the day, not a terrible watch. Guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button, and let me know, are you looking forward to Kimi? Let me know, because man, I'm sure looking forward to the Batman. I can't wait to see our girl Zoe Kravitz play Selena Kyle. I think that is the role for her. Can't wait to see her in that, guys. But if you're new, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you next time on Geekly Goods.